half god, half Viking, sorta dead. You're listening to Ranking Rick Riordan, a podcast about Percy Jackson and the whole wide rest of the Riordanverse. I'm Dan.
I'm Olga.
And I'm Clara. And today we are continuing our discussion of Magnus Chase and the Gods of Asgard.
The
Ship of the Dead!
The Ship of the Dead, indeed. We are picking up somewhere. Where is it?
Europe.
Okay.
All right. So,
Not enough Boston in this book.
no.
Yeah, boo. Rank it low. This goes to the bottom.
The Banana Brigade. I'll say that again.
I am going to keep that.
Oh.
Making your ringtone.
The Banana Brigade travels to Jorvik to challenge the giant Rungnir. Oy. If they can defeat him in duel combat, he will give them the location of Kvasir's Mead. TJ fills us in on his history, his need to accept all challenges, and his adoration for England.
TJ is the best.
So good.
I love
TJ is amazing.
I really want every single one of these characters to have a full series. And I know I can't have that,
Oh man, we need to do, we did our spin-off ideas for Percy Jackson. Now we have to do our spin-off ideas for Magnus Chase.
That's a good
TJ,
idea.
I did not expect them to make me like TJ as much as they did.
I did.
Yeah.
but I even more.
I mean, because I felt zero towards him in the first two books.
He was just like
There.
nice
Yeah.
and I appreciated him, but this made me like really feel like I knew him.
Yeah.
And I love that I knew him.
And he was just so multi-layered.
Yeah.
He was really funny. He was really like, he had tragedy to him. He had humor toward him. He had like badass-ness to him. He's great. Love him. Love this whole section.
Yes.
Yeah.
Alex makes a clay warrior named Pottery Barn who will assist TJ in fighting Rungnir and his clay man. Through dreams and discussion, we learn of Alex's backstory, awful dad, and family lineage.
Yeah, I mean, I made this as succinct as I
Yes.
could, but obviously there's all the stuff about the history with the two-faced warriors and all that stuff.
And like Mexican folklore.
Yeah.
Or was it specifically like Aztec folklore or
No, I don't think it was pre-Aztec, I think is what they said.
I want to say that I just love that Rick makes Alex have multiple kinds of identities because I think that is also something that can happen. It's like, oh, like this is the trans character, this is the black character, right? And even just giving Alex like fully rounded, I mean, not that he wouldn't because Alex is an incredible character who's multifaceted, but just like really getting into all of that is something that I'm so glad and stops Alex from ever. There's never a moment where I'm like, Alex is a trope. Like, ever. There's no moment where I ever think that.
Yeah.
And as one of the few trans characters that I've come across in like YA fiction, that's awesome.
Let alone one of the
totally
few
lovable, totally
gender
fun.
fluid characters as well.
Yeah.
I found it very fascinating that it was the like bad relationship between Alex and his/her family was that it was also about like money and capitalism and that's kind of legacy. Like it's not that I totally didn't expect and I really appreciated too because that way it's also like if you're not as a reader relating to Alex because of Alex's identity, well, you might relate to them as or him/her as like expectations of the family and that kind of familial pressure. And I do think that that's like an important gateway when you're introduced to new identities.
Well, and I think that Rick does a nice job of making it really feel like Alex had a life before, during, and after Magnus.
Yes.
Like, I really like that little thing that happens later in the book where with the Helheim thing, that Alex just mentions offhand, oh, my friend, blah, 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 who died.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like those kinds of like little things here show like there's more going on to him/her than we know and that Magnus know. Like, and I think that that's really cool.
Yeah. And this is like one of the things that I loved about Alex from the get-go and Alex's relationship with Magnus is that Alex says like, I have this life. That's it. Like, I'm not talking about it more with you, basically. And Magnus says, okay, like, thanks for telling me the stuff that you did tell me. That's cool. And like, we're cool. This is good. And I love that. I love them as a couple.
Yeah.
It's going to be on Alex's terms.
Yeah.
What Alex reveals when she / he is comfortable.
Yeah. And I think that this book does a pretty good job with the Clay Warrior stuff of giving Alex something to do more than just being the romance subplot. I do think that if I was gonna critique anything about Alex, I know everybody's holding their breath right now.
I'm just glaring at you. I'm not holding my breath.
The one thing, and I think it works fine because Alex is very much a side character, but I do think that Alex has the least amount of change or growth, ironically, because they're all about change. But like, they don't have an arc in the books. The arc is learning to understand them. He / her. I'm really bad at this.
For us as readers to learn more about Alex.
Yeah.
Okay. Because
but also Magnus. Magnus,
right.
I think, is learning to navigate this different idea than he's had in the past.
Okay.
Of people.
Yeah.
I think that I think it's a double-edged sword that it's really great that Alex isn't really still dealing, like, Alex has kind of dealt with his / her trauma. And that's part of what makes them great. Even though it's still there, they've dealt with it. But because they've dealt with it, they don't have as much to do as far as, like, what is their story. And I'm saying they a lot, and I really apologize for that.
I think it's about for Alex to let someone in. Like,
yeah.
And I agree that you're right, but it's kind of hard because Alex is so closed off in a lot of ways, and we're in Magnus's head.
Yeah.
That, like, Alex sees how Magnus looks at him / her.
Yeah.
And I think Alex is afraid of showing vulnerability because of his / her trauma and everything. But at the same time, Rick isn't framing it as exclusively about Alex's trauma because Alex is more than that. But I do think that them becoming a couple is like both of them not being sure where they stand.
Yeah, that's very fair.
So to me, that is the arc. It's not exclusively from the trauma perspective. It's more just is this really how I feel? Is this really how this other person feels about me? We have bigger fish to fry, but I have feelings. And I do think that's more in the background, especially in comparison to, say, like, Mallory, who's like front and center, not center necessarily, but like very much like, here's my mysterious past. And this
here's
stuff
my journey. This is my section of the book.
Yeah.
I think Alex also presents a really interesting, I was going to keep talking about Tower of Nero. I don't know. I have a problem, but it's an interesting contrast to the vision of trauma that is painted in Tower of Nero and the Apollo series in general.
Yeah.
There's something about, like, Alex is clearly dealing with trauma. Alex has experience with trauma, and it's not something that you just get over.
Yeah.
It's not something that now I've resolved my trauma and so it's done.
Yeah.
It's this continues to play a part in my life. There's something that happened in Alex's past that we don't know because Alex isn't sharing it, and that's cool. I think that's a cool decision.
Yeah.
And there's something that's getting in the way of Magnus and Alex having a relationship, and that's interesting.
Yep.
But it's this thing that Alex still is able to live a full life.
Yeah.
And Alex can live life on Alex's terms.
Yeah.
But there's like something there. So it's like sort of like Apollo. Does that make any sense?
No, so
like
what I think is really, really cool about Alex is that I think that when we meet Alex, they've already learned how to live with trauma. That doesn't mean that Alex doesn't still deal with the trauma, but they know how to live every day with it. And I think that is really awesome, but also presents some difficulties when it comes to storytelling. Because someone who's like kind of well adjusted, not as interesting a story. And that's kind of what we talked about with Nico, right? That once Nico's doing okay, like Nico's never going to be happy-go-lucky, but once Nico's doing okay, is that as interesting to read about anymore?
Well,
I
think it's really interesting to think about what this means for queerness. That would we have the same thing to say about Percy.
Mm.
And I mean, like we kind of do,
Yeah.
right? I'm not saying that we
Yeah.
don't, but I think it's an interesting thing, and it gets to this, like, Alex has so many different facets that I'm so interested in so many things about Alex.
Yeah.
In a way that honestly, and I love Nico. You all know how much I love Nico.
Yeah.
But because Nico didn't always have all of the same things, but what he was really dealing with was the trauma of not feeling accepted as gay and not accepting himself as gay.
Yeah.
That then when that gets, like, quote unquote resolved, there's a question. And that's why I'm really glad that Rick's bringing in this other author, because I think there's something there about, like, how do you continue to work through trauma that you've resolved?
Yeah. Well, I think the thing with Nico is that it's easy to think about it the way you're saying, because it's easy to sort of think, oh, all of his issues were around that. But I think there was a lot more going on. There was a lot more about his own idea of self-worth. There's a lot about how he struggles to interact with other people. There's a lot about his sister dying and leaving him behind and feeling abandoned, and losing his mom at a young age. So, like, I think there's still a lot and the fact that he lives with dead people all the time.
You know what, Dan? I think you just solved my problem with Nico in the Apollo books, which is, if Nico has all of that other stuff, then being in a relationship with Will shouldn't have fixed it all.
Yeah.
And it seems like it did. And so by doing that,
but less
it feels
so
like,
in Tower of Nero.
because Tower of Nero is practically impeccable. But
yeah.
It's just Nico has no real hobbies that we're aware of.
He used to have.
He loves McDonald's.
Magic.
Okay. Or is it that the ghosts love McDonald's and he's just like an Uber Eats driver?
I love Nico, you guys.
I love Nico too. You're the one who started hating on Nico.
No,
Big
sorry.
Nico hater over here.
All of a sudden. Anyway, the point is that
Alex is great.
Alex is great. Alex is skilled. Alex has multi-dimensional facets, even though in this book, Alex doesn't have, like, a very obvious arc.
Well, and I think so what I was trying to say is that I think that part of the reason that the pottery stuff works and is nice, like you said, having a multi-dimensional identity, is because then we have something to talk about that isn't just Alex's identity, isn't just the gender identity part of it. Because I think that when you make the character all about that one thing, and they've already dealt with that thing, then they start to feel weird. But if you give them multiple things, then...
Right. Yeah. And I think that was the issue with Nico by the beginning of Tower of Apollo. Hidden Prophecy.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Oh, man.
So anyway, combat begins.
Wait, no, I have one more thing to say. We're never getting anywhere, guys.
Never again.
No, I wanted to say, so when you were talking about how Alex, we don't really know exactly why Alex is struggling with Magnus and everything, right? The fact that we do hear about that friend, we don't really know what friend means at the end of the book, and that we are potentially going to Helheim, is that how we eventually actually have him / her and Magnus be able to, like, fully connect, is once, if Alex goes to Helheim too,
potentially,
and is able to, like, resolve that history.
Yeah, that's a really interesting idea.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. Anyway,
tell Rick. Yeah. All of you.
All of us, yes. So again, combat begins, and it's pretty dope.
Yeah.
Pottery Barn and TJ do their best, but ultimately need a little help from Alex and Magnus. Magnus heals TJ and gleans more from his history. Then he heals Alex and gets an inkling of how she sees him.
Aww.
Yeah. Our team defeats the giant, and he reveals that the mead is in Flom, Norway, where Flom?
Yeah.
I thought that the A with the little thing over.
In the audio, they say Flom.
Okay. Maybe that's in Danish and not Norwegian. Anyway, who knows? Before he explodes. So, bye-bye, my giant. I like that TJ has a piece of rock in his head.
So cool. I thought that was going to be something, and it wasn't. It was just cool.
Just fun.
It's just, I was like, oh, God, it's going to slowly sink into his head. And
kill him. I thought he was going to die, and I was so worried.
I thought it was going to be like a disease that spreads in his whole body.
Good for you, Rick. I wonder if Rick was going to do that, and he was like, I'll kill TJ, and then everyone's like, don't Kill
yeah,
TJ.
I mean, that's the thing. So I kind of take back what I said. Like, if TJ had died here, I wouldn't have been happy about
No.
I would have been like, no, you don't need to do that. That's not necessary.
Yeah.
TJ's great.
Great. Glad you realized you were wrong.
Also amazing. Like, this is definitely maybe like one of the top 5 action sequences, I would say.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah.
I really
Really
enjoy.
good.
Yeah.
Mhm.
This reminds me of the Ares fight.
We should rank action sequences.
Ooh, we should.
Oh, there's so many.
I know. But
This is-
not all of them. I'm just like came up with our top 5.
There's so many. Anyway, back on the banana, Blitz and Hearth return to pick up Magnus. Hearth's dad has turned into a dragon and he's greedily guarding his treasure, which unfortunately includes Bulwark's whetstone. What was that?
A dragon noise?
I thought that was your I'm a whetstone.
Wait, make a whetstone noise. Okay.
Oh my god. You need to work on your sound effects. They divide. No,
Do it.
Oh jeez.
Now we're in Alfheim.
Oh yeah. They devise a plan where Hearth will distract Alderman with the spirit of his dead brother, while Magnus waits underground to pierce the dragon's soft underbelly. The plan almost goes off the rails, but Blitz saves the day by being a scary, shouty man or dwarf. Magnus and Blitz retrieve the whetstone and return the gold to Andvari's river. Jack reveals that after someone kills a ring dragon, they must roast its heart and eat it. The gang debates whether Magnus or Hearth should eat the heart. Say that 5 times fast. Suddenly, it goes right into the campfire. Magnus burns his hands trying to save it from disintegrating, then sucks his fingers and tastes some of Alderman's blood. This gave him the ability to understand animals.
Yeah.
There is so
There's-
much to say
there's
here. And honestly,
So much.
all I really want to say is Hearth is incredible.
Mm-hmm.
I love that he brought his brother back
Yep.
from the dead briefly.
Yep.
Mhm.
And all their interactions.
Yeah,
Yep.
yes.
And that the brother is able to like give Hearth some sort of peace, and that
Mhm.
didn't need to come from his father.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That Hearth is allowed to still feel something for his father, but that
Yep.
we didn't have to go through the father being like, oh, actually,
Yeah.
whoops.
Please
like,
forgive me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoopsie.
yeah.
Well, I mean, I think it's very fascinating. I don't know if the book quite deals with it, but like Hearth did not do a great thing here either. Yes, Alderman's awful, but like they knowingly gave the dad the ring, and this is what happened, and they basically knew this would happen.
Mhm.
So like that's like one of the most like morally dubious
Okay.
things that I think has
Yeah.
happened.
Here's
in
my
one of these
next
books.
fan fiction.
Okay.
Right. Obviously, you already know what the ship is.
Yes.
Right.
Blitz and Hearth.
Mhm.
And it's them reckoning with what they've done. And it's
Mhm.
very, that's a dark sort of a theme.
Yeah.
And that's what my fan fiction will be too.
I mean, he basically killed his father to save his boyfriend.
He kind of did.
Yeah.
How did this book not end with them getting together?
I don't know. They're together. They've been together the whole time. That's the secret.
All right. I
I
accept.
guess.
But no, amazing. Alderman is awesome. Love the whole story between the two books. I love the dragon stuff here.
Yeah.
Love Jack. Love Magnus.
Jack really works here.
Inheritance.
Yeah.
Yeah. The inheritance are
Oh my
the
God.
only thing that was really weird was Magnus, I think, is the one who, like, the day prior asks Hearth, so are you going to reclaim the rune? And Hearth says, no, never. And then a day later, he's like, yeah, so I'm reclaiming the rune. And here's my brother. And it's like a little bit.
Yeah.
There was so much
It's just-
happening off camera
Yeah.
with Hearth and Blitz.
Yeah.
That's what I choose to believe.
That, sure.
Like,
Like,
we need the Rosencrantz and Guildenstern
Yeah.
version.
I'm just saying, like, I didn't feel like I needed him saying no, never, because he
Yeah.
said that in the previous book.
Yeah.
And that was something that, like, has been well established that he doesn't want to reclaim it.
Yeah.
And just the distance of that back to back was a little weird.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of
No
just.
pun intended. Weird.
Oh, good one.
Wow, that was good.
I was trying to think. I was like, back to back. No,
Me
that's
too.
soft underbelly. But yeah, it was. I really liked Andirun's like ghost and
Yeah.
that closure that Hearth gets.
My only issue
Yeah.
with this is the whole blood thing's kind of weird in the context of this book. Like he didn't need to learn to talk to animals.
Why does that happen?
Like, yes, I know he works with them later, but like you could have had him win that in a different way.
Was there a deleted scene?
Again, I'm wondering if this is all set up for another book.
Yeah, it feels like it.
But it's very unclear. It's one of those things that really feels like a dangling thread as opposed to like a tantalizing thread.
Yeah, I agree.
It was very strange that it didn't play a part in the flighting, or at least in the like final conflict.
Yeah, I mean, they do kind of make reference to it, I think, in the very, very end of the book, which again sets up it mattering in the future. But like, it's weird. When it happens in this book, you expect it to be important to this book.
Yes.
So.
Yeah.
Or, as you say, like he could have gotten it at some other time and there could have been some different payoff here.
Yeah.
Like Hearth taking, I don't know whether I feel like Hearth should have or not. And I think we're meant to feel that way. And this is another one of these, this is what makes it feel more adult to me.
Yeah.
It's not because it's inappropriate for kids, but it's that like this no easy answer, like
moral
feeling
quandary.
of regret. This is a tragedy for Hearth is tragic.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If this book were from Hearth's point of view, I'd cry at the end, I bet.
Yeah. It's definitely, this was a unique set piece.
Yeah. So many good parts of it.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. But it's just, how did this book fit this all together? And it worked.
Yeah.
Like it worked to flow from, Pottery Barn to this. Like,
and I read this one so much faster than like almost any of the other books.
Yeah. So whetstone in hand, the full gang arrives in Norway. Mallory runs off after a woman that she thinks is Loki, and Magnus and Sam follow closely behind. Turns out it was actually Frigg, and guess what? She's Mac's mom. Back in the day, Loki infiltrated Mallory's gang and convinced them to plant a bomb to take out enemy soldiers. Frigg appeared, gave Mallory her special knives, and told her the bomb would kill children. Mallory went back to disarm the bomb but died in the process. Ever since, she thought Frigg was Loki, leading her to her death. Frigg says it's too painful for her to visit her children and see their fate. She only appears in times when she knows she can make a difference. Mallory will need those daggers to retrieve the mead. Frigg gives her a walnut for Loki to be imprisoned in after the flighting.
It's a lot there.
Yeah.
I like how differently Rick handles godly parents in this series.
Yeah.
But like first with having Frey and Magnus be like, oh, I actually did always have Frey with me kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then with this where you like actually kind of understand where Frigg is coming from and why it would be really difficult to be a good mom for her. Yeah, just great stuff.
It feels much less like they're slackers and more like, well, they are deities.
Yeah.
Like
they're traumatized too,
Yeah.
Mac's great here.
So good.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like I thought she was just gonna be that like angry, spunky girl character, and then you have all of this coming into play too, and
he learned too much about Ireland for that to be true.
Oh yeah,
I'm so surprised he hasn't just written things in Gaelic at this point.
I'm sure he probably has.
We just don't know about him yet.
I didn't realize he got a master's degree online in Gaelic, and I've been just looking at that program now like, I could.
Well, he wrote, there's a whole Nico short story in Italian that he wrote.
He's just a treasure to the universe.
Rick needs to focus.
Come on.
The two different reactions.
Get your ass together.
Write more Magnus Chase and King Chronicles.
Exactly. You know what we want. He broke his toe by dropping his phone on it.
Yeah, that was weird.
So, imperfect being right there.
So good. I want to meet him, you guys. I want to start hanging out on the Boston Common.
So the trio faces down enslaved giants that guard the mead, and Mallory uses the whetstone to trick them into killing each other. Then she uses her indestructible knives to prop open the door to the cave and receive the mead. It sets off a silent alarm, however, and two giants appear. It was, again, tragic folklore background. Like, there's a girl trapped in there, and she just wanted a little bit of light and help. It was like, I really thought they would free her, but no.
Yeah.
Too late.
Yeah, folklore is bad.
Yeah. Well, I thought that's what you're focused on, not all the dead slaves.
Oh, that too. Yeah.
I did like how that made an ongoing thing with TJ.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
I really appreciated that it wasn't just like let go, like, oh, you did what you had to do.
Yeah.
It caused conflict within their group.
There are a lot of moments here where Rick like takes the mythology and doesn't just bring it into the modern world and unquestioningly do that, but he then has someone say like, that's bad. You know, like it's not just because it's like, oh, but because it's mythical slaves, that's fine. Like,
I think that this is a sign of his evolution as a writer, because I don't know if something similar like this came up in Percy Jackson, if it would have been handled quite this
I would
well.
put my money on absolutely not. I mean, like, he's constantly saying things like the Vikings were going around like culturally appropriating things. Like, even when it was like Hawaiian Day or something like that, it was a sort of like the Vikings always have loved cultural appropriation. Like, he's really he's great.
It's the right level of humor, action, and consequences.
Satire.
Yeah. He's just being like really conscious of every choice he's making in this book. In this series.
Power to him. Good job. So, all right.
Is this positive enough for you, Dan?
No, because we're bugging him. Sam leads one giant towards the boat where Halfborn goes berserk in the name of his hometown. Magnus kills the other giant with some help from Jack and a murder of crows. When the gang arrives in Niflheim, they're cold. Very cold. So very, very cold. It's so cold, guys. So cold that Alex kisses Magnus. No, what? Ouch, my ears.
I had to squeal.
Okay. Awesome.
Amaze balls.
Oh
yes.
My God.
Yeah.
Seconds before they
freeze.
Such
a great sequence.
Yes.
They're so cold, man. They're so cold.
I like this more than the underwater kiss.
Yeah, it's better. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, come at me.
That'll get some feedback.
Yeah,
The
whatever.
frozen kiss.
I'll fight you all.
They probably would have just been stuck by their lips together.
You know what? That's true. And Scotty would have had to unstick them together. Everyone would have known that they kissed. So everyone almost dies, but luckily they arrive at Scotty's fortress in the nick of time. She initially doesn't want visitors, but Magnus reveals himself as the grandson of her ex-husband, and she relents.
And she's like, do you have nice feet?
I guess I'll let you in. I like that. What's it called? Like Thunder Home. Like again, good humor.
Good humor.
Yeah.
And she's a really cool character.
Yes.
Ha, literally.
Ha! Good one. The next day, the crew sets off on skis to the Ship of the Dead. Magnus drinks the mead, but isn't feeling that poetic. TJ gets the idea of creating a diversion near the front of the ship so Magnus can come up from behind and challenge Loki. Hearth gives Magnus an Othala rune, which turns him, Sam, and Alex invisible. Suddenly, Magnus hears voices calling him. His uncle Randolph, his aunt Caroline, his cousin Emma, and even his mother Natalie. A hole appears in the snow with a ramp to Helheim where the zombies were coming from. Magnus's family urges him to join them. Alex stops him. She can hear her grandfather and a friend named Adrian too. From there, they execute the plan and things go pretty well at first, but they become quickly overwhelmed. Magnus unleashes the piece of Frey and the fighting comes to a standstill.
Nice callback there.
I was waiting for the piece of Frey to play a factor here. I also later like that Jack resents the piece of Frey.
Yeah.
Magnus challenges Loki to the flighting, but Loki doesn't really see any point in that.
I loved that.
Yep. Nah.
The Nalfar crew thinks otherwise, and their captain Rim assures Loki that a challenge must be accepted. Everyone agrees to a ceasefire until the flighting is done. Loki talks some mad smack, and our boy Maggie ain't doing so good. He be shrinking. He insults Magnus's lack of skills, being a member of a weak family, and how he doesn't even understand Norse morality. The mead kicks in, and Magnus realizes he doesn't need to play by Loki's rules. He's not a fighter. He needs to be himself. He launches into an ode for the Banana Brigade. He tells the Nalfar crew about every wonderful thing his own crew accomplished in their lives and in the book series.
And it's amazing.
Mallory Keene, Halfborn Gunderson, Thomas Jefferson Jr., Blitzen, Hearthstone, Samira Alabas, and Alex Fierro.
And not Jack.
And not Jack.
That's true. He goes a little overboard when it comes to Alex. Magnus gets bigger and more confident. He says he's glad to have his own family like this and tells Loki that no matter how big of an army he has, he will always be alone. Loki says he still has Sigyn, but she has disappeared into the crowd. Alex and Sam won't listen to him anymore either. Loki begins to have an angry breakdown while shrinking and spouting poison. This allows Mallory to imprison him in her walnut. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Unfortunately, now that the fighting is over, Rim and the Nalfar crew proceed to kill the Big Banana crew. They manage to escape thanks to Sam's water horse pals, and the glaciers close, cutting off the ship of the dead.
Very good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I gave you a lot to work with there.
I
You
think
worked it.
I did my own version of a flighting,
Yes.
which is reading the recap.
Man, so much there.
Wow.
Yeah.
I feel like in some ways we've covered it, and in
Yeah.
some ways we could never cover it enough because
Yeah.
it's really great.
Yeah. It's really sweet. And it's just like, it's like a different kind of like, hell yeah moment. It's like, yeah, they're all great and I love them. And you should talk about how great they are.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I do think we've talked a lot about the Banana Crew and how great they are.
Yes.
I really appreciate that this isn't just about playing to Magnus's strengths and about the crew. It's about emphasizing how Loki has turned everyone against him.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And that it's not just like, oh, the strength of what wins is emphasizing power of positivity, is to emphasize how like little positivity Loki has.
Yeah.
And I do appreciate how this ties into the Hammer of Thor and Magnus's like looking at Sigyn of like, she's with Loki, but is she really? And in the last minute that she's gone.
I
and
wish
she
I
really-
understood Sigyn more.
a little more.
But she's definitely interesting. I
Yeah.
just wish there was a little bit more. Like,
Yeah.
I wish she was part of the denouement. Like, they actually talked to her.
Mm.
Yeah, that would have
Um,
been cool.
If she appeared in a dream or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Or even if she did something that's still cryptic. Like, what if
Yeah.
she, like, passed Magnus a flower and then disappeared? You know? Like,
Yeah.
She scratched at a chalkboard. Yeah.
I mean,
No,
I
good
do
stuff,
agree. I wish there was more of her, but the fact that Loki's like, oh, you no, I'm not. And
Yeah.
then she's gone. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, you are.
Yeah.
You pathetic oaf.
Well, and yeah, I mean, I think it really plays to the fact that it also makes him more three-dimensional because it actually does bother him that
Yes.
he's alone.
yes.
And that
Yes.
I was happy about because I had felt like after book one, they were starting to veer a little bit too much into, I'm a villain. And I do feel like this kind of brought it back to, okay, it's still Loki.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, well, and it's a really real world villain.
mhm.
Here I go again. Ready? Imagine if Nero had gotten this ending instead.
Mhm.
We would have felt good about that, I think,
Mhm.
because there's something that's like when you have that sort of real world kind of bad guy,
Mhm.
Magnus being able to give him this real world comeuppance and
Mhm.
to say everything that someone might want to say
Mhm.
to a captive audience and have them physically react to what you're saying.
Mhm.
Because he's not just being nice.
Yeah.
I think that's totally right.
Mhm.
Like, you can't like kill them with kindness.
Yeah.
There is anger there, and
Yeah.
like rightfully so, because he's a
Mhm.
bad guy. And there's just something
Yeah.
like it's hurtful. He is being hurtful,
Yeah.
but in
Yeah.
a way that's so deserved.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have Sam also being like, you wanted to kill me and now you need me to support you.
Yeah.
And you can't get me to say or
Yeah.
do anything.
Yeah.
You're powerless to
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. Also,
It's-
this did work very well for as much as I was saying, oh, it doesn't feel like a finale. Like, it was good how they hit on multiple things from multiple books here. It wasn't
Yeah.
all just
Yeah.
from this book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We finally defeated a giant and enjoyed it.
Yes.
Mhm.
Wonderful point, Clara.
And that's, you know what? That's the real finale for this podcast. I finally liked bringing down a giant.
There we go. So an angry Jack confronts Magnus, making the latter realize he forgot to include him in his flighting speech. Oops. So he tells Jack he'll get Bragi, the god of poetry, to write an epic about him. Meanwhile, Alex says she'll need more time to think about Magnus after their kiss and his epic declaration of love. Awkward. The big banana arrives at Vigridur, the battlefield where all the Einherji will die at Ragnarok. They reunite with the gods, Heimdall, Frigg, Thor, Sif, Tyr, Odin, Freya, and Frey. The gods plan to put Loki back in his chains. Eitri Jr. is hired to make stronger bonds for Loki, whose cave will be kept in a more secret location this time. Sigyn will only go to Loki's side if she wants to. Odin reveals he actually has a special reserve supply of Kvasir's mead, and he will give some to Aegir to fulfill Magnus's promise.
Stupid gods.
Always.
They're very gaudy gods.
They very are.
That's
yeah.
what I like that.
Yeah.
It's such a comfort to me.
Well, it's also like they seem more like dopey than the Greek. Like they don't seem like they're trying to cause trouble the way that a lot of times the Greek ones do. They're just like, oh, I mean, obviously you wanted to go on that mission and earn it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, whereas the Greeks are like, we cannot interfere with your prophecy.
Wink.
Yeah. Yeah. But maybe we could a little bit. Yeah. Back at the Hotel Valhalla, the Einherjar welcome the Big Banana crew as heroes. This is so much better than the Big Seven.
Yeah.
Big Banana. Yeah. Ramadan is over for Sam, so she, Amir, and Alex head to a family feast.
I like that Alex is like really considered part of the family there too. Yeah.
And that like Amir and Alex clearly have like a friendship too kind of going on. It's just, it's all nice.
Really good vibes.
Mallory and Halfborn get back together. Oh, these immortal kiddos. They're on again, off again. Blitz and Hearth are made honorary Einherjar. Can they be honorarily married as well?
No, it has to be official.
I couldn't believe this is there. I was like reading it. I was like, but where do they kiss? Where is it?
Well, speaking of a kiss, later that night, Alex kisses Magnus as a guy, and Magnus realizes it doesn't bother him. Magnus makes a call with Annabeth, telling her that Ragnarok has been averted. However, she has just received some bad news.
I wonder what about.
I straight up thought that would be spoiled in this book.
Yeah, I'm glad they didn't.
Yeah, I did too, but I think...
No, we did, but...
What?
I mean, we spoiled it, but...
Yeah, no, but I mean to say that I thought that that's one of the reasons that we had to read the books in this order.
I thought they were gonna be more forthright about it.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
So... 2 weeks later, Odin's lawyers managed to negotiate turning Randolph Chase's mansion into a residence for homeless youth called the Chase Space. Blitzen and Hearthstone serve as cooks, tailors, and life advisors for the kids. Magnus and Alex also stay there from time to time and help out. Magnus says Loki was right about one thing: we can choose to alter the details of the big picture. That's how we take control of our destiny.
The end.
Good ending.
Wow.
Just want to hit on, I was glad that Rick threw in the moment of Magnus kissing Alex as a guy.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Because we did have that talk during Hammer of Thor of how it seemed like most of the time when Magnus was saying things, it was when Alex was a girl.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that was an important moment.
I agree. And also love that there's this moment, and it's not that he's like, uh-oh. He's just sort of like, oh. It's great.
Yeah.
It's just noting it and being like, I really like Alex.
Yeah.
It's really good.
That was really, really great. All right. So with the recap done, I just want to remind everybody that you can be part of the feedback podcast we're going to be doing soon. You can email us at ourpodcastfeedback@gmail.com. You can tweet at us at Ranking Riordan. You can leave comments on our YouTube videos, youtube.com/DoingOK. And what else can you do? Oh, also please rate us or review us on Apple and Stitcher and Spotify and Audible and all the fun places. Now, are we ready to rank?
Let's do it.
Okay. Let's be frank, it's time to rank. This one's great, but that one stank. Ranking Rick Riordan.
Damn.
And we will be doing our Magnus Chase specific rankings. So I have to scroll, and I'm scrolling, and there's a lot to scroll because this is a long. Okay, here we go. Best hero right now from worst to best: Gunilla, Jack, Hearthstone, Blitzen, Magnus, Samira, and Alex. Nominees: TJ, Halfborn, and Mallory.
And we got to do a reshuffle,
yeah,
right?
We do.
Yeah.
Like, Hearth needs to go up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah.
I think Magnus needs to go up.
I think Why did we put Alex as number 1?
We just really like Alex.
Okay.
That might have been me just really liking Alex a lot.
Because what I think Alex should go between Magnus and Samira.
I
And
agree.
Samira should still be number 1.
I'm good with that.
Mhm.
And then Hearthstone goes over Blitzen.
Mhm. I already changed
Yeah.
that.
And then TJ. Is TJ better or worse than Blitzen?
Better.
Oh, but Blitzen, he stands up to the dragon.
Yeah, but you know what? He and Hearth aren't together, and that makes me question every single thing about Blitzen, and I just am very angry about it.
I'm putting TJ under Blitzen, but above
Okay.
Jack.
Yes.
Yes.
I feel like TJ goes above Blitzen for his, like, the whole...
You're right.
All
He's
of the
very
things-
heroic.
Yeah.
He's incredibly heroic.
All right. We'll put TJ above Blitzen.
I think Halfborn goes below Blitzen.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mallory.
I think below Jack. No, Jack's not really a hero.
No,
though.
Jack's
He's a
not.
sword.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's
I
an
mean,
object.
sorry.
He's a sword. He's a very heroic sword.
He is. He's the best sword.
So should Ganilla go above Jack?
No.
Okay.
And then
Mallory.
Mallory, does Mallory go above or below Halfborn?
Above.
Yeah.
But does she go above TJ?
No.
I think she
Okay.
goes between Halfborn and Blitzen.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
Why would you think she's better?
I think
than
she's
TJ?
between Blitzen and TJ.
Yeah.
Really?
Well,
I just-
no, Blitzen deserves to be high.
You're not thinking enough about Blitzen in the previous books.
Blitz really deserves to
Blitz
be.
in this book, I understand, doesn't
Yeah.
do
But
that
what
much.
does Blitzen really... I
He
maybe
makes
I'm forgetting.
ducks.
Okay.
He has his whole...
Did he lose his life trying to dismantle a bomb?
He
Well,
lost
'cause
his life
he's
trying
too
to.
smart to do that.
Whoa.
Wow.
Whoa. Blitz's commitment to his friends and trying to protect Hearthstone from the trauma of his family, even though it meant his own life, like that was really heroic.
Mm.
Yeah, but like Mallory does stuff like that too.
All right. It depends on what we're...
And Mallory
my
was
question-
fighting colonizers.
My question is, if we're pushing more for the idea of hero, I think Mallory gets higher. If
Mhm.
we're doing more towards the idea of who's a better character, I think Blitzen is a better character.
And the problem is that our definition of hero
It
is
is both.
usually both, like a mix.
Well, let
And
me put it this way. Would you rather Blitzen or Mallory get into our overall top 10? Not that either of them probably will, but who would you prefer to be in it?
Blitzen.
I agree with
Yeah, me too.
you. Yeah.
Okay.
So Mallory goes between Halfborn and Blitzen.
Yeah.
And the new list is Gunilla, Jack, Halfborn, Mallory, Blitzen, TJ, Hearthstone, Magnus, Alex, and Samira. We're good about Magnus, Alex, and Samira?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Very good, everyone.
Magnus is the third place in his
But
POV.
I think he would agree.
he would
I
agree.
agree.
You know,
Magnus,
and I
Magnus
love that.
totally agrees.
He wouldn't
yeah,
even put
yeah.
himself as third.
No.
No.
He would be like,
He'd be below Jack.
Yeah.
Below Ganilla.
yeah, honestly. He'd be like, you know what? Maybe Jack does get to be below me, but everyone else, though.
Best God, Heimdall, Ran, Frey, Hel, Freya, Siv, Mimir, Odin, Thor. Nominees, Frigg, Njord, Aegir, Skadi, Sigyn, and Tyr.
I think Frigg should be number 1.
I think Frigg should be number 2.
I think Frigg should be number 2.
Okay.
I think
She doesn't have as much as Thor, so.
I think Njord should be over Mimir.
Yeah.
Yep.
Gotta give props to those feet.
I don't
Yeah,
think
they're
we
so
need to put
beautiful.
Aegir
No, I don't either.
Yeah.
or Tyr. I don't think we need to do Tyr. But Skadi and Sigyn I would put.
Interesting.
Skadi
Scotty is like, she's not even a god. She's
Yeah,
a
but-
giant.
That's true.
But they're all, but
But he's also kind
So
of a god.
All right,
Yeah.
so slow. Yeah,
But Loki's not on this list.
I know.
All right, let's put Skadi, I would say
below
above
Freya.
I was gonna put her above Freya. I'm cool with
I think
either way.
below Freya.
Okay, below Freya. And then Sigyn. The mysterious Sigyn.
Below Hell.
I was gonna put Sigyn below Njord.
Oh, you
Yeah.
really
what?
like Sigyn.
Well, she's so mysterious. I don't understand her, man. She's important.
I would put her below between
Sigyn.
Hel and Frey.
That's what I was saying too.
Yeah.
All right, fine.
But I love this, Dan.
I mean, she should have a short story. I
Well,
hope she has at least
Here's
3
my
of the short
question.
stories.
Frey provided the big banana. So does Frey deserve to move up?
No.
Understood.
All right. Did you add Sigyn?
yeah. Are we putting her?
I
we're
think
putting her
we
here?
win. Yeah.
Put her above Hel.
No.
No, Hel had a scene.
Sigyn
Hel
had a
is
climactic
more
moment that defeated Loki.
By going away?
Yeah.
No, you know what? You're right.
All right.
I want to
going
put her
away.
above Scotty.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Wait, Clara, what?
Put her above Freya, too.
Okay.
What is happening here?
I'm remembering that she cries blood.
Yeah, that's
All
cool,
right. I
too.
mean, that's pretty cool.
She has she's a girl with a plan, okay? I don't
Is
know what
she?
the plan is, but she
Does
had
she
one.
know?
Autocorrected it to it autocorrected to
Sigyn.
sigh.
Yeah. All right, here's the new list.
Wow. I do not. Whatever.
Sigyn should be in our top 10 overall.
Go away.
All right. Heimdall, Ran, Frey, Hel, Skadi, Freya, Sigyn, Siv, Mimir, Njord, Odin, Frigg, and Thor.
I just love the fact that Heimdall, who actually had lines and appeared in several multiple scenes, is at the bottom of our list.
We didn't like the humor.
No, we
Yeah,
didn't.
didn't
But
work.
the gaunt lady who cries blood
Dude,
and
She
I'm
cries blood, Olga.
I'm not even joking. I honestly want Sigyn in the top 10.
what the hell?
I think Sigyn's more interesting than everyone on this list other than maybe Thor and Frigg.
I mean, I don't disagree with you.
Like, are we really going to put Njord on our top 10
all
list?
right. You know what? When you put it like that, I guess.
Yeah, does Njord cry blood? No.
But isn't Hel arguably also equally interesting?
But, like, she is just, like, doing what Loki asked her to do in that scene.
She's collecting.
Sigyn
cool.
hasn't said anything. Isn't that
Yeah,
interesting?
It's interesting.
All
And she had a
right.
plan.
She's so spooky.
Okay,
All right.
so now our top 5, I'll just read that, is Njord, Sigyn, Odin, Frigg, and Thor.
Mimir might move up if he appears in the crossover.
Yeah.
I was disappointed with Mimir.
Yeah,
not
you
Yeah, I
just
thought he was
goes
going to be
away.
there again.
We never went to his casino.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's because Rick doesn't want to encourage gambling.
Yeah. Best. Well, he already did.
Yeah,
the
I know. I'm
Best baddie from worst to best: Thringa, Surt, Utgard Loki, Randolph Chase, Fenris Wolf, Mr. Alderman, Loki, and nominee Hrungnir.
Wronger.
I mean, I didn't really. There are villains in this, but I
Yeah.
don't really feel like any of them need
No,
to go
me
anywhere.
neither.
Yeah. I mean, I might put Hrungnir over Thringa though.
No, I wouldn't. I
Okay.
liked Thringa.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I just don't care about
Does
Hrungnir.
Yeah. Should Randolph move down?
No.
Why?
Move down.
Like meaning
'cause
like
they're not
he's
as
not
bad.
he's not as bad.
But that's like
But it's
what
like
part,
Luke.
It's like Luke, where
Or
it's like part
Set.
of what makes them a good bad.
right.
I think the list we have is the right list.
All right, I'm down. Part of me still wants to move Utgard Loki up, but
I agree with you, but I don't know what.
We could put Hrungnir on the list just so that Utgard Loki.
I would be okay putting Utgard Loki over Randolph.
that's all I would ask because
But what does Utgard Loki do that's bad? What does he?
You're right.
what's-
He's not really
Randolph
bad.
does worse than
he's
Utgard
just
Loki.
very selfish.
Utgard Loki's just a troublemaker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
like Utgard Loki a lot, but they're not really like a
I mean, he'd be
bad-
fine with their people dying, and he kind of
Yeah.
does
But
torture them.
Randolph sort of actively helped it.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair. But then he actively tried to stop it.
But so did Utgard Loki.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay.
And Randolph actually like almost killed
yes.
Blitz.
Okay.
So,
That's
yeah. All right.
yeah.
This is the correct list.
Yes.
All right. Best real world locale.
We don't need to do this.
And then we have York and Flam.
I don't want anything on this list other than Boston, but I like both of these locations.
Yeah,
a lot.
I want to put York and Flam.
Yeah.
I feel
They
like
deserve to be on here.
Flam, he did a really good job of making me be like, I do want to visit here.
Me too.
And York, I feel like, TJ's cool.
And also the fact that he goes
likes
into the
it.
history of it.
Yeah.
Dylan, who's obsessed with Celtic
Mm.
history, was like so thrilled,
Mhm.
and they might actually read
Ooh.
this series
Oh.
after
Got
years of.
2 name drops of Dylan in this podcast.
I know.
I don't
I
think
think
you've
it's
ever
because
mentioned
Never
Dylan before.
heard of Dylan, and you've cited your wedding and everything. People are learning more about you in the final book review.
This is it. It's the last podcast. I'm singing now. All these answers.
Crying blood.
Crying
All
blood.
right, so I think we should do York, Flom, Boston.
Okay, sorry. I thought you were going in the other direction for a second.
No.
Was gonna disown
Yeah,
you.
No.
Boston is at the bottom. You're gonna disown.
I didn't know I was owned.
From Boston.
All right, so York, Flom, Boston. Now the big kahuna.
The big banana.
Yeah, that's true. I should have gone there. Book ranking. From worst to best. Hidden Oracle, Sea of Monsters, Red Pyramid, Lost Hero, Tyrant's Tomb, Sword of Summer, Titan's Curse, Son of Neptune, Serpent's Shadow, Blood of Olympus, Lightning Thief, Battle of the Labyrinth, Hammer of Thor, Throne of Fire, Burning Maze, Last Olympian, Mark of Athena, Dark Prophecy, House of Hades, and Tower of Mira. This is a hard friggin' list, man.
Friggin'.
Friggin'.
That's
Frigg.
Sigyn's cousin. Why? I don't know.
Okay.
I'm sad at how low Lost Hero is on this list.
You put it this low.
Can we
This
swap?
is mostly you.
Okay, where do you want it to go?
I'm not capable of that decision
All
right
right,
now.
what if Lost Hero goes between Titan's Curse and Son of Neptune?
Okay.
Do we agree with that?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
And
It's better than Sword of Summer.
Yeah.
Even though I'm pretty sure you've literally said the opposite of that in a recent episode.
We've debated that multiple times.
Yeah. Catch us on a different day and we'll move it
yeah.
back down. Here's the
is
thing.
Serpent Shadow in the right place?
Can we
don't even
focus-
remember what
can
Serpent
we-
Shadow is.
Guys, can we focus? Let's just
Okay.
work from Magnus Chase back
right.
to the other things, right? Is
Is
Hammer of Thor in the right place relative to how good we now know
Yes.
Ship of the Dead to be?
I think Hammer of Thor is in the right place.
Okay.
I think Ship of the Dead should be right below Last Olympian.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
You're going to
You
put it
think
even
it's
higher?
Better than okay.
Where did you want to put it, Clara?
Yeah, where did you want to put it? What?
in between Dark Prophecy and House of Hades.
Whoa.
I mean, I think there's an argument for that.
This is my arc, you guys, because I
Yeah.
did not like this series, book one, that much. I mean,
I don't think it's a better book than Last Olympian.
I don't either. Like that's the thing where I have to.
Really?
I use Last Olympian as like a signpost.
I feel so definitively that I like this more than Last Olympian as my signpost. So I guess it should go right around there.
Yeah,
Where would you have put it, Olga?
between Last Olympian and Burning Maze.
That's what I said.
Yeah, I know.
Oh,
well,
wow.
I can defer to you guys.
I have a controversial thought. What if we move Last Olympian down and we put so it goes? What if we make it so it goes Mark of Athena, Ship of the Dead, Last Olympian?
So what you're saying is just put it between Mark of Athena and Last Olympian.
No, I'm swapping Mark of Athena and Last Olympian and then putting it in between them.
So you're moving Mark of Athena down below Last
Yes.
Olympian.
Mm.
I get that. Well, because you've been thinking about endings.
I just think Last Olympian's really good. But I also, there are issues with Last Olympian.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I forget about the issues. Like, I really do hate some of the stuff they do with Rachel and Luke in that end of that book
Yeah.
with the romance stuff. I also, there is the, like,
What?
Can I just
What?
What?
What? I'm sorry. Excuse me.
What is it called? The bad thing that we talk about.
the pattern that we talk about?
You know,
Keep going.
North, it's in the Western civilization.
Oh.
That's what I was trying to say.
Sorry, make your Western civilization
wish-
noise again.
I wish people could see my face right now. Okay.
All right.
We've been podcasting for too long.
So what if we do what I said?
I like that. I'm fine
But
with that.
I think Mark of Athena is in the right place.
Okay. All right. So we just put it between Last Olympian and Burning Maze.
Can you name a thing that's wrong with this book?
I don't like it as much.
Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, that's what.
No, and I can get that.
No, here's the thing: the action is definitively better in Last Olympian.
I buy that.
That book is just like nonstop action.
Action
I'm
here
cool
is phenomenal.
I'm cool. I'm really down with your idea. I guess like so many of these other books that we have near the top.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much in them. Like they're sort of like novels.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And this is this incredible. This is like, it's for the same reason that I like Lightning Thief, but different. But it's a sort of like, how could you do this any better?
Yeah.
It's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And there's something to really be said about that it's not this sprawling epic tragedy.
I really like the Last Olympian. Like, I like that we go to the underworld of stick stuff, and that Nico like betrays him, and that ultimately Nico gets Hades.
No, I love Last Olympian. I want to switch Mark of Athena and Last Olympian.
But don't forget, Mark of Athena actually has the stuff that we were complimented that Percy brought up in this book.
No. That's in
House of Hades.
No, that's Blood of Olympus.
It's House of Hades and Blood of Olympus is when all that stuff happens with Tartarus.
Yeah.
Mark of Athena is Annabeth. It's what they go to
I know.
No,
I know.
The scene that he mentions with Jason underwater is Blood of Olympus.
Yeah.
That was in Blood of Olympus?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's when Jason decides to become a priest in the last book.
Okay, you're right. You're right. All right.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Let me talk about what's in Mark of Athena.
Okay.
So Mark of Athena, it has the dolphin scene where they're the pirate fighting the pirates.
All right, my bad. This is what I was thinking of, even though obvious.
It has obviously Annabeth's amazing journey to fight Arachne. It has the best cliffhanger of any of the books of them going down there. It has some pretty good humor with the two giants, I think. It has it's pretty good.
Stupid giants.
It has the scene in Atlanta with the aquarium. It has the thing you guys hated in Virginia or wherever it was.
Fort Sumter.
Yeah. It has Leo, Frank, and Hazel's like
love triangle thing that we didn't like as much.
I do like it. You liked it too. She just didn't like it.
Yeah.
I know. I'm just trying to convince. I'm selling
Rome.
Olga.
It does. I love Rome.
We love Rome as a place.
Also, is that the one where there's the
nymphs or
the nymphs?
That's a really fantastic
Piper
scene.
against the Hercules and all that stuff.
Piper's great.
Yeah,
I really like Rome. I really like Piper in it. Yeah. But the more we talk, it does deserve to be moved below Last Olympian, and I do think that
I don't know though.
Now Dan has convinced himself out of it.
I don't know.
See this if you just put this right below House of Hades.
Tight.
Here's the problem. Here's the problem. House of Hades and Mark of Athena. In general, the Heroes of Olympus books are so long.
I know.
And
that's what I'm saying.
There's so many things happening in them.
It's not
that
fair.
It's hard to be like they're not across the board perfect book. Like they have a lot of problems, but they also have the highest highs, in my opinion, still.
I agree.
So I don't know what to do with them. Let's just do what we originally said and put it between Burning Maze and Last Olympian.
But no, now I want to move Mark of Athena down.
All right. Why don't we, since you guys both want it, we'll do that for now. And we'll talk about it again next time.
And we'll revisit whatever it is that you wanted to revisit from a different book series at that point, too.
This is the most all over the place rankings that I think we've done.
Yeah. This is one of our most not final book discussion.
It's a lot like the Magnus Chase series. We're finishing it. We're sort of like, and this is our last episode.
Or is it?
The Ship of the Dead.
The Ship of the Dead.
All right, I'll read just the top 10. So Lightning Thief is out of the top 10.
Ah!
At number 10, Battle of the Labyrinth.
No, wait. It needs to be in the top 10.
No, we're discussing this in our overall.
All right, at number 10, Battle of the Labyrinth, then Hammer of Thor, then Throne of Fire, then Burning Maze, then Mark of Athena, then The Ship of the Dead, then Last Olympian, then Dark Prophecy, then House of Hades, then Tower of Nero.
All right.
So it's in the top 5.
It is.
It's in the top 5, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I think we have a good balance here of, we have what? So we have so Percy, we have Battle of the Labyrinth, Last Olympian.
Yep.
For Heroes of Olympus, we have Mark of Athena and House of Hades. For Nero, for Apollo, we have Nero and Dark Prophecy and Burning Maze.
Yeah.
And then we just have the 1 for Kane Chronicles and the 2 for Magnus Chase.
Yeah.
I think it's a pretty good.
I think so.
I think
No,
this
it
is a fairly accurate representation of, I think, our love for these respective series.
Yeah.
Lightning Thief notwithstanding.
If you wanted to swap Lightning Thief and Battle,
We'll talk about it. We'll
right.
talk about it later.
That's a hard sell for me.
Yeah, it is. All right, guys. So I'm probably going to have done a lot of editing during this one. So hopefully it all makes sense.
So us being deranged by the end won't make sense to the listeners.
Anyway, thank you guys. And we will return. Ranking Rick Riordan will return. I don't remember what's next. Oh, we're going to do the series review.
Yeah.
And the short stories.
Yes.
9 from the 9 worlds or whatever. Thank you guys so much for listening. And may the gods be ever in your favor.
Bye-bye.